They're at the Becker County Fair in 2019, and I'm Scott Sonstegard with Nick Williams and Catherine Weisenberger, and we're with the Becker County Master Gardeners, and we're a division of the Minnesota Extension Service. Every year at the county fair we have a different theme, and this year's theme is vegetables in pots. So we can see how we can raise pet vegetables easily and nicely in our pots. A couple of advantages of this is it's very simple, easy to do. You can do it about anywhere, no matter if you've got ground as hard as pavement, or if you just don't have a good garden spot, you can do your gardening in the pots. It helps with a lot of different things. I'm going to have Nick talk about the advantages of growing vegetables in your pot.
The major advantage is one of controlling the environment. You can move the plants to take advantage of sunlight and get the full amount of sunlight that they might need to grow. Also, within the container, you can use your own mix of soil, control the amount of nutrients and micronutrients that you might use in growing the plants. You can also use other growth medium that wouldn't be soil if you choose to do so. A third advantage would be the fact that if disease should occur in your plants, be it fungus, bacterial, or viral, that has less likely chance to spread, being that the plant is isolated in a container. And I'll turn this over to Catherine now.
Hi, what I'm going to talk about is the variety of different kind of vegetables that you can do. We probably always think of maybe basil and your herbs and things like that, but we can also grow things like cucumbers. We can grow things like peppers. Here's a basket of radishes. Look how abundant those are. And in the background there is green beans, a different variety of green beans. And if we walk down here a little bit further, we have beets. We can grow beets in a pot. You would normally think of growing beets in a pot that size, but look how nice they look. Actually, that's Swiss chard, I'm sorry. And then we walk down here and we've got carrots. We've got carrots in a pot. And look how abundant those look. And we've got different vegetables such as the basil. Someone put together a spicy pizza basket. How cute is that? So all you have to do is pick your herbs and you have yourself lots of different herbs. Here we have kale and some more beets. We have our green peppers. And the green peppers are growing so nicely on here. So that'll give you an idea of what kind of vegetables you can grow in your containers and still be very successful.
So in this vegetable gardening in our pots, you can see from our display here, there's many different things you can do, many different plants you can put in there, and you can just about virtually use any type of a pot or container. Some of them are plastic, some of them are metal. There's one that are cloth. It's become very popular, the cloth containers. So you can see just by looking here the different type of pots you can have. One of the keys to that, though, there should be some type of drainage or false bottom in some of these pots, just so that it doesn't get root rot or anything like that. So that's one of the advantages of the cloth ones. So you can see over here we've got a person that's just used a regular pail and put it in a pail, and the tomatoes are just doing phenomenally in that pot. Here's some green beans are doing really well in the pot. You can see the peppers over there, and that's in a cloth pot, and that helps it breathe a little bit too. So those seem to be very nice, very portable. They got handles on them, you can move it. Same with this one's got a handle. You can move this pot around on your deck or in your patio, depending on how big it is, and grow. One of the other keys or issues here is these pots, these plants like to have full sun. So it would be best if you could have it in a spot where there is full sun. And there has to be some management to this too, because they do dry out. So you should have, either if you can't water it every day, at least have a neighbor check on it if you're going to be gone to make sure that they're watered every day. Some of these pots have a system here that helps you with that. And this garden kit has a false bottom. So you just fill the water up here and it drains out the bottom once it's full, and it'll self-regulate itself. That's a nice advantage to a setup like that that's already set to manage the water supply. You can see up here, here's a nice display of some spinaches, carrots, and lettuces in a raised pot. That looks very nice. It would look excellent on your approach coming into your house. Something like that adds, it's a little color and kind of a talking point when somebody comes to visit. There's tomato plants here. Here's a topsy-turvy tomato plant you can hang, and it hangs upside down. Another advantage here is it keeps the blight away. Tomatoes are notorious for blight, so if you keep them away from the ground, up in the air, you won't get blight, and you can get 30, 40 tomatoes off of one plant like that. So it's great. And tomatoes are indeterminate, so they just keep growing all summer long. So the kale over here, that's another plant that we don't use as much, but it's a great plant to put in a pot that grows really well. So as you can see from the other tomato in the bag here, that tomato is bringing out lots of little tomatoes, and that's going to be very productive for the homeowner. You'll be able to use that and get fresh tomatoes off of that all summer. And then, of course, the carrots. Some people have a hard time raising carrots. These carrots are doing really well in a pot. So you need to make sure you're watering them. Have to have a little fertilizer. I'd actually recommend maybe using a little liquid fertilizer during the summer, just to make sure that they're fed well and keep them in the full sun.
These are russet potatoes. They were planted early in March, and to get this set of plant down here, it had to be trimmed quite a bit. But I expect there'll be somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds of tomatoes in that dirt by the time we harvest it in a week or so. That bag can be moved to take advantage of sunlight, and as Scott mentioned, it does require an awful lot of water. That has to be watered at least once a day. A lot of days it has to be watered twice a day. For some reason, container plants seem to use more water, either by transpiration or evaporation or something, but they do require pretty heavy watering. Thank you for joining us. This is our display at the 2019 Becker County Fair. We will have pamphlets available here. If not, you can get them at the Extension office on 8th Street in Detroit Lakes.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy all our education that we're providing to you at free of cost.
Goodbye.
Yes.